Welcome to Financial Behavior Thought Leaders. I'm Mary, and this podcast takes you behind the scenes with the top speakers in financial services. So, whether you're an advisor, an event planner, or a financial professional eager to learn from industry thought leaders, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single conversation. Today, we're featuring Andi Wrenn, one of Financial Behavior Keynote Group's exclusive speakers. Andi is an accredited financial counselor, a military qualified financial planner, and with more than 2 decades of experience in helping individuals and families make sound financial decisions. She's an award winning educator, mentor, and advocate whose passion for financial wellness is matched by her commitment to building up other professionals in the field. Today, we're going to dive into her unique approach and learning in the community through her award winning book study programs. Thanks, Andi, for joining us.
I'm really glad to be here with you today.
Me too. Hey, before we dive into your keynote, I want you to tell us, how did you get started speaking? What led you to the stage?
Oh my goodness. Back in the old days, I spoke for my program at gymnastics. I had gymnastics meets with thousands of parents and children, and I was basically the MC for the whole weekend. And I did that a lot. I also have a degree in teaching, and I love teaching people. Um, and being an educator just made it easy to. I like conversational type of speaking. So anyway, I just started there, and then with the military program that I was um, supporting 700 financial professionals, I was giving presentations a couple times a month, basically
Mhm.
presenting and then having networking groups where people learn from each other. So it's just been something that's been part of my everyday, I feel like, for 40 years.
Well, and that's the part that I've kind of we've chuckled about in the past is you are the busiest retired person any of us know. So you've retired, right? You've had a full career. And I love that you started with your gymnastics. I mean, you were completely outside of financial services, came in as a military spouse, have done incredible things, including the president of AFCPE recently, and you're retired, but you're not. What in
Not
the
very
world
good
are
at
you
it.
doing?
Well, the thing about retirement for me is it allows me to do the parts of what I was doing before that I loved, and then to
Mhm.
challenge myself because every year I look at the programs that I'm providing and decide, how do I need to tweak this to make it better?
Mhm.
Or what can I do a little bit differently to support more people? And for me, that's what it's all about, is supporting professionals in the field. I absolutely love helping people help clients make good choices.
And you're really kind of a train the trainer type,
I am.
right? Like you really have honed in on that skill set. So I want to know, tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing with your AFC and CFP certification program. Is that the right
Yeah.
way to say it?
Yeah. So I have an experience hour program that is pre-approved by CFP board, AFC. I have some financial therapy students as well earning hours. And then some people are just financial coaches that want to get better at what they do. So we have mock counseling sessions, but also occasionally I get people who reach out to me or get referred to me to work with. And I'll say, hey, if you want to work with my students and myself, you can come in and do sessions there. So they have live people every once in a while. Like right now, we just finished working with a military widower and
Mm.
helped him get all his stuff organized. And we're going to meet again with him. We just spent 6 weeks working with him. And then in 6 months, we're going to do a check in with him. So it'll be the same 4 students that worked with him the whole time. And it's really a great opportunity for people to see me in action and practice themselves. Um, so you have mock counseling sessions and sometimes real ones. And then you have the presenting track. So being a good speaker and being able to effectively communicate your brand, your elevator pitch, um, canned presentations, you might volunteer somewhere that you have to give a presentation, and nobody loves death by PowerPoint. So
Mhm.
let's make it fun, engaging, exciting, because we want them to take action. And then we have them develop their own presentation and deliver that, whether it's consumer focused or train the trainer, as well as um, the opportunity to create short form video because that's a really good way to practice speaking and getting a message across to people in an interesting way.
So I heard a couple of things. One is pro bono. You really work in that space and help people help others, even in a pro bono way. And then the second thing I really want to hone in on is that ability for you to connect the individual who's trying to become certified, right? I remember there's that gap. You've taken the test, you've learned all the knowledge, but then you actually need to get the credential. And that's what you're helping fulfill. How did you see
Yeah.
that?
Well, I actually saw a need for it when I was working with mentees that maybe were sent to me through AFCPE. I had a lot of people, maybe private practice, that didn't have supervisors, or
Mhm.
I had a military spouse that lived in a place where she couldn't get any hours, or he,
Mhm.
um, or I had CFPs that worked with me that just didn't feel comfortable having those conversations with clients about, I can't afford diapers until next week, or like just the whole learning to communicate effectively with clients so that they don't feel so much shame, they don't have fear. And that is a big part for me, is building rapport and client trust. It's a huge part of my program.
Well,
And
and
it gives people the opportunity to try new techniques
yeah.
doing the mock
Yeah.
counseling so they can learn from each other. "Oh, I really liked that question you asked," or "I really liked how you went through your framework," or "I like the order," or you know what I mean? There's so many
Yeah.
things they pick up from each other over the year.
Well,
Well,
and
I
what I
won't say
like
year, but
too is it's not just you mentioned earlier, you're like, as a speaker, I wouldn't say like most advisors don't think of themselves as speakers, right? Like that's not their first inclinations. I'm going to jump up on a stage and talk to people. Some, yes, but very few. I think most of us just think I want to work one on one with people. But you make such a good point that even when you're in a small group setting, you're still presenting, you're still speaking, you're still communicating. And so, what your program, what I'm hearing it does is really hone in on those techniques to be able to deliver a speech or a presentation to one, 100, or 1,000. It doesn't matter
right,
how many are in the room, it's that connection. Yes?
right, right. And being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right?
Mm,
That's important too.
yeah. Which you do a good job of making people uncomfortable to become comfortable.
I know. I think the presentation class is the class that people are more scared of.
Yeah,
But once they come and we do some improv activities and we do impromptu prompts where they talk about those. And so it eases, you know, their
yeah.
stress
Well, you
level.
practice, right? Like that's what speaking is. That's what coaching is. That's what presentation is. It's that practice, that repetition of just working and working through difficult clients, working through easy clients, and figuring out your rhythm. So I want to jump into what we're going to talk about today. I'm charming your keynote, which is really your book study programs. You are well known for these book study programs. And actually, they were awarded the Outstanding Education Program of the Year in 2021. So I want you to dive in. Tell us what is at the heart of these book studies and why are they so powerful for your audiences?
I love talking about behavioral finance and how we can help clients make choices that make sense in their specific life, because personal finance is personal.
Mhm.
And there are so many fantastic books out there that we can read them. They can sit there on our bookshelf and we're like, "Oh yeah, we read that." But when we get together and have small group discussions, because we put people in breakout rooms and we have discussion questions that I've developed for all the classes, and they go in and they talk about these discussion questions and how they can apply that to the work that they do with clients, whether they're a professor, whether they're a financial counselor, coach, therapist, or planner, they can apply all of these behavioral techniques that we're learning about to working with their clients. And that is the huge impact. And the nice thing was, I got one of my students that did one of my book studies early on said, "You need to submit this, or we need to submit this for the award." And I thought that was really cool that somebody came to me and saw the value in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I want to break down these book studies and get to know. So, someone who's never been in one of your book study programs, can you give them a high level of what is it? How does it work? And what happens inside these events?
So I try to plan for 4 to 6 pages a day of reading because that's something that, like, you're going to pick up the kids, you're at a sporting event, whatever, you can read 4 to 6 pages before
Yeah.
you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, whatever. You can squeeze in a few pages every day. And so you get a workbook, and the workbook has the discussion questions, and it also has the quiz questions because for continuing ed, you need to take a quiz.
Yeah.
And so we go over those every week. So, for example, there might be 3 chapters that we cover. We do 6-week sessions, and we might meet for 30 minutes, but we do have an extended period where people continue conversations. That has been more popular over the years than it used to be, but we talk about the discussion questions. We put people in breakout rooms, so usually 3 to 7 people at the most in a breakout
Hmm.
room so that they get opportunities to each share. Um, Even if somebody's new to the field, personal finance is something that you are a professional in your own personal finance. So you get to share your own opinions and beliefs and values, as well as how you might work with clients, whether you're new to the field or you've been in it for 30 or 40 years. Um, so we share in those groups. At the end of the 30 minutes, we come back to the large group. We'll go through the quiz questions together. Um, I don't typically tell people if they're right or wrong
Hmm.
because, it's a quiz. But they all talk about it's really a good subject to talk about too, because the quiz questions are usually a little bit different than the discussion questions. Um, and then we open it up for discussion. So if anybody wants to share something that they talked about in the small group, or uh, what was your favorite chapter? Or did you have a favorite question this week? Or, you know, it's really a great opportunity, and people have been staying for that extra 15 minutes. So it's been really great lately.
Well, and one of the things I love about it, we did a discussion with Daniel Crosby on his book Soul of Wealth not long ago, and I remember one of the comments being like, "Have you read the book?" And there were several that said, "I bought the book and it's sitting on my nightstand." And how many times are each of us guilty of that same thing? Right? We have great intentions. It's in our Audible book or it's on our nightstand, and we're going to get there someday. But I think what your book studies have done for me in the past is opened up and said, "Oh, no, we're going to dig into the book and not and read it in bite-sized pieces, but also interact with the material." Cuz just like you said,
Right.
it's one thing to have read a book and check a
But
box. It's another
applying it,
thing to apply it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really the magic happens when people have these discussions and then they actually do something with it. And
Yeah.
I usually do like some of the bigger name books every other year. So if they've done it before and gotten their continuing ed, it's going to be in a different reporting period and they can do it again. So I've had people who have done the same book twice because they're like, okay, I did some of it, but I need a refresher. I need a reminder. I really want to impact my clients more. So they'll read it again and join the book study again and do it. So that's how I end up having people who just do all of them and then they do them again.
Well, and it's repeating, right? Like it's this information, but you're seeing it in a new light because a year
Right.
later, you're a different person or you have a different client or a different situation you can apply it to. So it's always applicable. Well, I have to ask, what are some of your most popular books that people just love?
That's a good question. So I would say the most popular books, Nudge is one that has stuck with me a lot because not only are we people, consumers, impacted by nudging, our clients are impacted by nudging all the time. And we talk about how we can nudge our clients too to do the
Mhm.
positive things they need to do. So, Nudge, the final edition, is a super popular one. Atomic Habits has been very popular for people because they're like, I read it, but I haven't done any of these things. And I kind of force you to do some of the things, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Psychology of Money has been very popular, and the Psychology of Financial Planning. has been really popular too. It's written for the financial professional. So I like that. And then we'll see how some of the new books go that are popping in. The first book I ever did was Predictably Irrational. And that was a
Oh,
book that I had read years before. And I thought, this impacted a lot of my thinking around money. So that's why I chose it for the first one. And I did that. I've done that probably 8 or 9 times. So
wow.
it's a good book too. But I'm always looking for new books. And, I remember when I was selecting my third book, I went to the library and I brought home like 24 books. And then I scanned all the books trying to figure out what I want to do. And I narrowed it down to like three. And then I ended up picking one. But they seem to be personal finance and psychology, behavior kind of topics,
It's what
because
people really
those
like. Yeah.
people love that.
Yeah.
How do I help people make those changes they need to make? That's
Yeah.
really popular. It's
It's
a
the
great
behavioral
topic.
side, right? It's the
Yeah,
psychology side of
it's my
people
favorite
changing.
side.
Yeah.
That's why I got that master's in marriage and family therapy, because I love that side.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I've got to back up. You said your first book was Predictably Irrational. How did you decide, like, oh, I'm going to create a book study? How did that come about?
Well, I actually started with leadership books,
Oh,
in a leadership group where people could choose to be in it or not. Um, and we would do 8 weeks, break the book into pieces, and then we'd have discussions every week. And about half of the people on the leadership team came, and they were always, by the end of it, I really wish the other half came too. And then I went, well, I think I should do this for finance. And why not make it continuing ed? Because it's almost like a college course. So that's kind of
yeah.
how it evolves itself. It's a fun college course though, where you get to actually impact your clients and discuss and network, right? You get to meet professionals from all over the world.
And interact with peers. I think that was the other thing, is being able to connect with people who have not had the same clients as you, have not come from the same background, and hear just that different viewpoint of what that looks like. So we've got
Yeah.
some exciting things coming for 2026. You've got some books already on the docket. We're going to be pushing some book studies out through us. But if we've got some listeners on that also maybe plan events or have large conferences, and they say, hey, Andi, we'd love to do a book study at XYZ. How do they do that? How does that work when you're live and in person?
Oh, I love doing the live in person. We're getting ready to do one of those right now too. I've done it at conferences where it's like a pre-conference session, and we have 3 hours, and we do our 6 sessions in that 3 hours. People move around the room and they meet each other. That the first time I did it was awesome. The room had about 60 people in it. And so it'd be like, okay, session one's done. And then they'd have on their card which table they go to next. And so they'd meet a whole nother group of financial professionals. And so when they got to the conference, they already knew 60 people. And
It's
it
a
was
great
great.
icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they either brought their quiz questions with them, or I do Survey Monkey, so they can do their quiz in Survey Monkey. They can do it that way too. They get another 8 continuing ed credits right before the conference even starts. That's great. I've done it in corporations where we do it virtually, and they have 1 or 2 times a week that they do it. That's really fun. It helps the employees get to know each other too. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't work in the same branch, so it's not always a branch. I know I've talked to my FPA chapter about possibly doing it here as well with our local group. So
So
lots
it's
of
really
different ways people can do
flexible.
it.
Yeah, and it's flexible on the delivery. So it could be virtual, which is what the traditional way, right? You've done that a lot, where it's only once a week. It's 30 minutes once a week, and you get all these CEU hours. But I think the cool part is what I'm hearing you from the live versions, is it's really a good way to get to know each other, whether it's a conference attendee, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's your team back at home. So any
Mhm.
corporations that are wanting to do this, it really allows for that flexibility, but also that connection, which really is at the heart of what we're all doing, right? If you're more
Right.
connected, then you're going to be a better on the outside. What have you seen people walk away with that was like an aha moment from these experiences?
Oh my gosh, I've had so many great feedback over the year, like, even people who aren't working client facing, they're like, "I've used these things to communicate to my teams and to
Yeah.
communicate with the people I work with or the people I supervise or whatever." It's a great way for them to just really feel empowered by the information they've read, and it's a deeper level of impact because they're taking it all in, not just reading it, but rereading it or talking about it here and again, and it's just been really great. Like, the feedback, the only negative feedback I usually get is, "We had too many questions this week, we need more weeks, or we need more time."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Which is
one
a
of the
good
reasons
problem to
I
have.
added the 15-minute continue the conversation piece, because I was like, a lot of people are like, "The 30 minutes is perfect for me. I can fit it into lunch or before dinner or
Mhm.
after I put the kids to bed." And then that 15 minutes is there if they wanna continue talking about the topic, because people were like, "I don't wanna stop talking." The feedback I
Mhm.
get every year is like, "I could talk about this for hours. This is so much fun."
I love it. Well, if this is something that you want to bring to your team or to your stage, reach out to and download Andy's speaker sheet at financialbehaviorthoughtleaders.com, and we'll put that in the show notes. So, Andy, last question for you.
Okay.
I know you have done a lot of things and covered a lot of ground over your lifetime. What is one thing that many people don't know when you show up on stage? What do they not know about you?
Oh my goodness. What do they not know about me? When I show up on stage, oh my gosh, then I'm fun. No. Um, I like to have fun wherever I go. And if I have people, I was giving 3 presentations at a conference once and somebody was like, "Are you nervous?" And I'm like, "Not really, because if I mess up, I just go, 'Hey, let me just say that again.'"
Yeah.
And I'm more of a go with the flow kind of person. I feel like I'm a girl next door. I like to be approachable. I'm happy to talk to anybody and help them in any way I can.
Yeah, we were talking at the beginning of this how you're just the typical pay it forward. You're not the typical pay it forward because you're the pay it forward 10 times over, actually. And you continue to pay that forward. And I think that has resonated with so many people that you've helped, that you've mentored, and you connect with. But I have to say, there is some stuff right behind you on your wall that also has extreme talents. You are a quilter,
I am a
you
quilter,
sew.
and
Do you paint as well?
I'm no, I don't paint, but I'm a paper crafter. I love paper crafting. So, like, when I retired, I sent a
Yeah.
card, handmade card, to everybody with a fake $1,000,000 bill, and then I sent them tips on how they could use the $1,000,000 bill when they worked with clients or when they were teaching a class. So that was a couple hundred cards that I mailed out to everybody. I was
Wow.
like, "Hey, I need money for envelopes and stamps. I don't care about the cards because I love making them." Um, what else do I do? Oh my gosh,
You so remember the jackets that you made at
so
AFCPE, the
I'm actually
sparkles?
making my next outfit for this conference this year, and it's going to be really exciting, I hope. So, yeah, I have a new money outfit that I typically make every year. I was at a conference last week and I wore um my Monopoly money skirt. And
Oh,
people will be talking to you, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my god, your skirt is Monopoly money." Like, you know, that means they were, like, looking at me at least, and then
yeah, yeah,
they look down and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's awesome." And they're like, "You made that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I just threw it together, like, a couple days before the conference one year."
yeah, and
But
it
yeah,
looks like a
I
million
have money
bucks.
pants, I have a couple money shirts, I have the jacket that I made when I was president for AFCPE logo.
Mhm.
In fact, last week at the conference, people were like, "Where's your sparkly jacket?"
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So
Well,
I enjoy being creative, and it's a great conversation starter, right? So I'm making a dress this year and I'm 100% sure it's gonna be a great conversation starter. I don't know
I'm
that I'll
sure.
wear it out in public everywhere, but I go to enough conferences, it'll get used. It'll get used.
I love it. Well, yes, you are a woman of many talents and much creativity, and I love that. So, if you're looking for a speaker who blends financial expertise with award-winning education and mentorship, look no further than Andi Wrenn at Financial Behavior Thought Leaders. Thanks for listening to Financial Behavior Thought Leaders, where keynote stories come to life. If you liked what you heard, share this episode with a friend. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Barry.